Hello, everyone. I hope you all had a great time tonight. My name is Masashi Niwano. I am the festival director at CAAM. So happy to be with you today. You just watched Lea Salonga in concert with the Sydney Symphony Orchestra. You are the first people to see this. You were at the drive-in at Fort Mason Center. I hope you had a great time. I am thrilled to have three of the key people here who made this fabulous live concert come to life. We have Josh Pultz, the executive producer. We have Don Young, CAAM's director of programs, and the one and only Lea Salonga. Welcome, everybody.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hi. First off, how are you all doing?
Doing very well, thank you.
Happy to be here.
Great to be here.
My first question, Lea, for you, you have such a wonderful career with so many accomplishments. What does this show mean to you?
Oh my.
Yeah.
It's actually the fulfillment of a dream. 5 years prior, Josh and I were in Australia for my first engagement, like ever. And we were taken on a private tour of the Sydney Opera House because, I mean, it's world renowned for its architecture. So I wanted to definitely go and paid a visit. And I was awestruck when I saw the sails for the first time, I guess as anybody would be. We went in and we think we were standing all the way up in the balcony, all the way in the back. And we could see the stage from where we were. And I just let out this whisper to Josh of, oh, one day I want to perform here. And he looks at me and says, I'm going to start making some phone calls. And that led to my first engagement and then a second engagement, both of which were sold out. And this concert that was filmed was of the second one. So every time I perform under the sails, every time I'm in the city and I get to work with the Sydney Symphony and I get to work with Lea Salonga, our maestro, it just feels like, I feel like I'm a little kid, sort of like manifesting a dream and not knowing, if it's going to come true or not. But then it's almost like the universe conspires to make things happen. And when you're surrounded by good people that want to make these dreams come true, also, it's an incredible feeling. So every time I performed, whether it was my first engagement or the second one, I always had to feel like I needed to pinch myself because it wasn't real. It just felt like this huge dream. I mean, I knew it was happening. I was on stage and I knew that it was happening, but there was something that was like, this is a little otherworldly and wonderful.
That's great. And you just mentioned good people. Maybe a question for Josh and Don. As far as the production goes, this is such a beautifully made live concert. Can you talk on the back end how it was like to make this and any behind the scenes info you want to share?
Well, I'll go first. So Josh, we just a little bit of history. We were fortunate to first meet Josh and Lea when we filmed an opening for a PBS show maybe 5 years ago, right? So a few years later, Josh reached out. We were initially trying to shoot the concert in 2017, right, at the Sydney Opera House, and that didn't work out. And fortunate enough for us, Josh came back and pitched us, and we were thrilled. I think for CAAM, the opportunity to film this concert and bring it to PBS, quite frankly, wasn't a dream that we thought would be possible, right? I think when we had heard that such an opportunity was available with the symphony at one of the most distinguished venues in the world, we jumped on it. It took a little bit of time to get all of our PBS partners in place. We're thrilled it's going to be on great performances. But all credit, this was Josh's idea, based on our initial meeting. And it's been this really fun ride in terms of trying to figure out how to craft a show around Lea, working with an incredible team in Australia. And, this concert couldn't come at a better time for obvious reasons. I think, seeing this live performance with thousands of people sitting side by side as happy, there's no other there's nothing else to them in the world except the show at that moment. And we all wish we could experience that every day now, right? So, but this show's been such a pleasure and privilege and just pure joy to work on.
It was a true bringing together of great people. And I think that's what really drove this engine. You know, from the top to the bottom, everyone was a delight to work with. The team in Australia was absolutely phenomenal. I mean, you know, to be able to capture what was captured on those 3 performances is truly incredible. The camera folks, the director, the audio. I mean, it's a very, very special evening, and the team that came together to make it possible, I mean, they're truly all remarkable. I mean, it was really, really a group effort, and the product shows. People put their heart and souls into this, and the performance and ultimately the recording are super special.
It's great. Let's talk about the music. I am such a fan of the selection of songs that were chosen here. Like, can you talk about working on your set, what songs you wanted to play for this show, and if anyone else wants to talk about the music as well?
Okay. It's always a little challenging to figure out what we kick it off with. What is the first song out of the gate? And prior to the Sydney Opera House engagement, I was doing my US and UK tours, and I would always open with Feeling Good. There's a reason why. I had broken my leg in the previous January skiing, and I had to cancel some gigs that were upcoming here in Asia. Much to my chagrin. I was not happy about making those cancellations because I was looking forward to performing with the Hong Kong Phil and all those musicians gathered as well in Singapore. But I needed to heal. My doctor said, no, you can't go anywhere. You need to heal until at least this time. And thankfully, I was allowed to travel to America to do the tour, and we just had to make a lot of adjustments. We had to make a lot of adjustments. I had to sing the whole concert sitting down, which can be a challenge. Airports, I had to always be in a wheelchair, which actually turned out to be one of the most advantageous things because it meant getting to the front of lines because I am a person with a disability. So there was our group, and we could all just go with this one person with this disability. So airports were easy, wasn't as challenging, but I wanted to get back on both legs and walk on and off the stage. And I would gradually get better with every concert stop. So to kind of reflect that state of being, I wanted to open all of those shows with Feeling Good because I wanted to show the audience that yes, I have a brace on my leg, but I'm still here and I'm going to perform and we're all going to have a good time. So ignore the leg, listen to my voice, and it'll be fantastic and it'll be fun. So it felt like this continuing theme. So I wanted to open with that. And so an orchestral version of Feeling Good was created. And then we just wanted to fill in the set with, we have like a group of songs that we call the greatest hits, quote unquote. We wanted to include something from the golden age of musicals. It was a medley of songs that I had done previously in Manila. We wanted to include some pop songs. There's one that Josh always insists that we include, and that's Drops of Jupiter. My mom had to chime in with Will You Love Me Tomorrow by Carole King. And there's Disney. There's a whole bunch of musical theater, and there's Les Mis, and there's Miss Saigon, but not the Miss Saigon songs you think. It's not that I'm tired of singing any of the songs that I've actually performed, but I mean, there's an opportunity to explore the other songs that that I feel envy not being able to sing them because they belong to somebody else and they belong to someone who isn't of my gender. And I'm like, I'm singing it. I'm not changing the lyrics. I just want to sing the song because it's so good. Yeah. And then we sing a whole bunch of boy band things at the very end. And we just have ourselves the bestest time. And we finish off the main program with This Is Me from The Greatest Showman. And everyone at that point is just so pumped. And the orchestra is pumped. I'm pumped. Gerard is feeling good. And it just feels like such a great way to end the show. And we also have a little nod to Filipino nurses all over the world with The Human Heart from Once on This Island. And it was just a program that was created with love and, and with the feeling of it has to be challenging, but it also needs to be a good time for everyone. So I felt vocally challenged, sometimes cursing under my breath is like, why the hell did I sing this song? But at the same time, there is a great fulfillment to completing whatever particular song I happen to be singing. And it was just so much fun. I had the best time. And I'm so glad that it was filmed.
I am curious, were there any other songs that you performed that is not included in the live concert? Or were there any key songs that you didn't include but was on your radar you potentially were going to play?
I think that there was one Filipino song that unfortunately didn't make it into the set. But since it was a predominantly Filipino audience at the Opera House, it felt like a good song to do, regardless of whether it would make it into the broadcast or not. And it's a song that a really, really good friend wrote, which it's called Hahanapin Ko, and translated loosely, it means I will look for. And it is what an immigrant looks for when they leave their home country. And it's specific to the Philippines. So it was an orchestration that Gerard had created, and he created it in 2003 for concerts that I held here in the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
And I've done that version since, but
Wow.
it's something that always, there's always a bittersweet feeling in my heart whenever I perform it, especially when I perform it outside of the Philippines, because it's a reminder of, the opportunity that many of us that leave the country are chasing after. But at the same time, we're also reminded of what we're leaving behind. And there's always a little heartache when I sing that song because of it.
You mentioned earlier that your maestro is Gerard, your brother. Can you talk about working with your brother?
It's incredible working with my brother. Because he is my brother, our communication with one another, and Josh has witnessed this over the however many years we've all worked together, it's very clipped and short, and it's not angry or terse by any stretch, but it's like, do this, do that, fix that, get out of your head. It's how he how he communicates with other vocalists in a show that he's conducting is very different from how he will communicate with me, because I'm his older sister, and it's because of our dynamic as family. There's no need to be extremely polite. I mean, we can throw polite out the window. He knows what he needs. He knows what he needs from me. And he doesn't have to try and massage my ego to get that to happen, which is great. So anybody that gets to watch us work together notices it, notices the language we use. And I try my best, just out of respect for him, and also always wanting to take care of him because he is my baby brother, and I'll always think of him as 3 years old. I try to show up as much as possible prepared for the work that we're going to do together, so that he never has to think, oh my God, this is awful. Oh my God, this experience is terrible working with this person. I don't ever want him to say those things to me. And yeah, I always want him to think, it's my sister. I can relax.
Don, you mentioned earlier that the show is going to be on Great Performances on PBS, and that's so exciting. Can you all talk about the significance of this?
Let's, I think when one sees the show, I think you see the voice and the life and the world that Lea creates in a performance, right? I think when Josh initially presented the song list, you see it on paper, but you don't understand how it's going to tell a story, right? So you witness it in person, right? And I think for great performances, look, I mean, we all know throughout 2020, there's a hunger and desire throughout the world to see stories and be introduced to heroes and icons in ways that haven't been, highlighted. I think with great performances, they've really had very few, certainly Asian American leads in the show, right? I think, that was, politically for CAAM really important. We wanted to, I think on the one hand, the show literally fell on our laps. Josh's and Lea's great vision to do this program. But I think what CAAM brought to the table was a strategy by which to bring the show to PBS. I think the program lead at PBS, Perry Simon, for the record, was a huge fan of Lea's, was really excited when he had heard. But with great performances, it took some time. It's a bit of a dance to really convince folks to do something they haven't done before, right? But just for the record, it is the finale episode of PBS's, fall season. It is, a distinguished place. It's on Thanksgiving weekend. We really hope and believe that this is the beginning of great things to come. I think to Lea's point, this is coming after the show. People see the drive-in. Everything about the performance was almost prescient for today, right? So it was weird for me because I was in the booth, in the production booth when the filming was happening. I was never in the concert hall when it took place, but, we could literally feel the energy coming through our crew. I think the crew were as excited as the audience were, screaming and jumping around and dancing, all these happy Australians. And we believe... and the feedback we've been getting from PBS is the same thing. Is there's this absolute joy of discovery, even though Lea won a Tony decades ago, even though Lea's had this incredibly distinguished career on Broadway, in Disney, internationally. So just for CAAM, I think strategically we felt like we could support that. It's not our vision, but we tried to be a great partner, and we tried to really help sharpen the, we reposition cameras, do an edit, and really argue on behalf of PBS. But obviously Lea's talent and their vision shine, right? So it's been so much fun. And we really hope and believe this will be an opening of desire from PBS. Great performances, probably literally the most distinguished broadcast platform for Broadway in the world. I don't think that's an exaggeration, right? It's that important.
Josh, anything on your end?
It's just so special to have this performance on PBS. As Don was saying, I can't imagine it living anywhere else. It really is the premier venue for broadcasts of this type. And again, it's a confluence of events, to be able to put Lea and Gerard on the stage at such an iconic venue with a truly, truly phenomenal, group of musicians. And then to be able to share it with the world is incredible. And, PBS is the perfect vehicle for that, both in their, viewers and the prestige that great performances brings to this already very prestigious recording.
Lea, anything on your end?
I think it's all been said. You identify great performances with some incredible performances by so many wonderful people throughout the years on PBS. And so when I heard that this concert was going to be part of that, it was like, wait, what? So it's mind-blowingly incredible to be included as part of it. And I'm still pinching myself because it's like, oh my God, it's great performances on PBS. And it's so exciting. And, I've been spreading the word. I've been telling my family and my friends, and everybody's excited for this. So I hope that the excitement that we all feel is contagious and that everybody that watches it feels our joy and our spirit as, you know, and hopefully it comes through the screen, and that, you know, that people feel hope and optimism that things will get better.
Well, we are running out of time, so I want to thank you all so much. I would agree. I hope that everyone here in the audience who saw it will be advocates, will champion this. I'm very sure that's going to happen. So please help spread the word about this. Follow CAAM, PBS, Lea to learn more about the broadcast. I want to thank you all once again for participating in CAAMFest Forward. I'm so excited for the future of this live concert. And thank you all so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.